Has this ever happened to you? You're having a nice Oirat game and you capture Keyzone Zoo and take Beijing like always, and then you look at the peace deal screen and see this nice, tempting take the Mandate of Heaven option. Well, that sounds good, you think innocently. It's what you declared the war for after all, and it's what all the emissions are pushing you to do. So you decide to click it and suddenly realise you can't raise any of the provinces you took from Ming. You also notice that your troops have suddenly turned from unstoppable killing machines to becoming about as effective as wet tissue paper. You open the government tab and see that your amazing steppe Horde government has been replaced by the dreaded Celestial Empire. And now, instead of achieving that pre-1600 world conquest you were hoping for, you're going to be stuck with the endless rebels and disloyal tributaries that is the China experience. But what if I told you there was another way? A way to be both Emperor of China and a base steppe nomad, just the way Kublai intended. So take the Horde pill and let's make Yuan great again. For the purposes of this guide we will be playing as Oirat, but theoretically this method can be used for any non-endgame tag in the game. You don't even have to start as a Horde to make this work. However, Oirat is definitely the easiest to do this as for a variety of reasons that will become clear. First things first, just as in any normal Oirat campaign, we focus admin, move our armies to Ming's border and declare war with the Take the Mandate CB. Then we just win the war like usual through the Tumu crisis. This should immediately give us the war score we need to peace out. This may sound odd, but the only thing we need to take from this war is the Mandate. You can take money too if you have spare war score, but don't take any provinces aside from your cause. Now we have the Mandate, and have immediately lost Horde government, but fear not my fellow Horse Lords, we'll get it back in time. In the short term, taking the Mandate does two very important things for us. It gives Ming the Mandate of Heaven loss modifier, massively weakening their armies, and gives us the Unified China CB. This CB is one of the most overpowered things in the game, and we want to make maximum use of it, so immediately truce break Ming using it. Using this CB, any occupations we make in the China subcontinent immediately become our cause. So occupy as much as you can. Anything we haven't occupied we won't be able to take since we will be chain warring Ming and he won't be able to core it. Focus on sieging down forts in this war, as taking these will make our future wars much easier. Your ruler gives plus 20% siege ability, and if you build a spy network as well, taking the fort shouldn't be too bad. What's that? My amazing ruler just died on the siege? Whoops, looks like my game just crashed, what a coincidence. You don't need to siege Beijing, Nanjing or Canton, as taking the Mandate in the last war instantly gave us cores on these. Peace out and take out every fort you've managed to core. Regarding internal management, to be on the safe side I recommend stabbing up to 0 after every truce break. If you think the war will be really quick then you can risk leaving it at -2 before the next one. Try getting every stab cost modifier you can, advisor, Tengu decision, high mandate, lower clergy, etc. Don't forget to take the admin from the estate. To avoid the disaster you'll have to state 2 20 dev provinces to accept 2 Chinese cultures, but don't state any more than this as we will be culture flipping later, and GovCap will also become a major issue. I like to move my trading capital to Beijing and trade company enough to get merchants to transfer all the Chinese trade. When you get the event I'd recommend flipping to Confucian to help with unrest. Keep truce breaking Ming until you've taken all their land in China. It should only take around 5 wars. Unfortunately, war exhaustion is going to pile up from all the truce breaks, but there's not much we can do. You're going to get some rebels, but to try and prevent them, just buy down exhaustion whenever you can. Use the advisor and trade companies, but most importantly do not pass the first reform until you're in a very stable position. Keep that mandate high. Now we're finished with China, it's time to set our sights west. From this point we need 2 things, the Tibet region conquered and the provinces required to form Persia under our control. I decided to go for Persia first through Chagatai. Now it's probably time to talk about the big exploit. Being Emperor of China gives us access to the forced tributary state CB, which as some of you will know is incredibly broken right now. I'm playing on patch 1.34 but this will definitely be fixed in the next patch, so if you're playing at a later date disregard everything I'm about to say. Using this exploit isn't necessary for the strategy, However, it is incredibly powerful and will make the rest of this campaign much easier. What it essentially allows us to do is demand infinite amounts of war score in a peace deal, far over the normal limit of 100. So, how do we do it? First of all, this will only work if the war leader is less than about 246% war score. Luckily, Chagatai is well below that, so we should attack them using this CB. To make any demands in a peace deal, we need at least 10% war score, and to demand any provinces from them we need at least one fort occupied. So siege down Chagatai's capital and it should give us what we need. Now, pause the game. There are two methods of doing this, one fast and one slow. The fast method requires the nation you're attacking to have some releasable countries or returnable cores. If they do, then you're going to want to click the forced tributary option and the options to make them release and return as much as you have left war score for, ensuring you have enough left to demand a province or two. Now, click to demand provinces. After one or two you should notice the war score going down, not up. Once this happens, to farm war score quickly you can just click and unclick any province to gain infinite amounts of war score. The slow method works on any nation with at least 2 provinces. Simply force tributary, demand as many provinces as you can, remove force tributary, repeat to slowly farm war score. Using this exploit we can take what we want without having to properly win the war. Just be wary of going over 100% OE. So grab a border with the Timurids and use the exploit to easily get the provinces we need, and a border with Ajan. Then do the same again to them. Now you should have the provinces required to form Persia. Now we need to conquer every province in the Tibet region. You can use the exploit if you want, you don't need to. Don't stupidly tributize someone with provinces you need and have to truce break them like I did. Once you've conquered Tibet, you should complete Oirat's mission to convert to Vajrayana. This mission is one of the reasons we picked Oirat to begin with, as this conversion is necessary for what we're about to do, but unfortunately this is bad news for our internal stability. Rebels will be a constant issue for the first few years of this campaign, so I'd recommend Humanists as your first idea. Now we're going to be forming Persia, so destate everything you can, and then state all your Persian land, and accept and flip to Persian, and then simply form Persia. So why did we do this? Well, as you've probably worked out, the method we will be using to become a horde is going to be the standard forming Tibet method. But if you have Celestial Empire, the option to become a horde will not show up in the event. So before forming Tibet we need to lose Celestial Empire. The best way to do that is to form Persia. If you go to your government you should see that Celestial Empire has been replaced with feudal theocracy. Now we can flip Tibetan and form Tibet. Simply click the missions and we can now become a horde as normal, despite being Emperor of China. Now, as you can see, we are back to horde government and also Emperor of China. At this point, you're free to do whatever you want. You can form Yuan immediately for the amazing ideas and accepting all Chinese cultures, or you can form some other tags first for the missions. The world is your oyster. If you're okay with not being a horde quite as quickly, I'd actually recommend waiting a bit until you can complete a few more of the Oirat missions, since we lose these once we form Persia and some of the permanent bonuses are really good. Now, a few things to note. Doing this means we won't have meritocracy, which means we will never have access to any of the Chinese abilities, some of which are very strong and will be very useful. But on the bright side, we now don't have to worry about maintaining high-level advisors. We also lose Unified China, but that shouldn't matter at this point. More impactfully, we lose the plus 500 gov cap from the reform itself, which makes managing our country a lot more challenging. I'd recommend keeping everything unstated and using trade companies sparingly. Also, forming the Mongol Empire will destroy the Mandate of Heaven, removing everything we've worked so hard for, so sadly you can't form them. So, the real question is, why bother with any of this? Why not just play a regular Horde or Emperor of China game? Well, to be honest, it's mostly for the memes. If you're trying for any achievements, I'd recommend just doing it as a normal horde. Oirat is plenty strong enough without this, and it is quite the hassle. However, doing this does give us a few useful things. For a start, it gives us all of China basically for free, and much faster than normal. We also do have mandate and can pass our reforms normally, which will definitely help us, particularly the core creation cost near the end. Crucially, we get to keep the forced tributary CB, which is admittedly the main reason to do this. You can effectively use this for the rest of the game and potentially get a very easy world conquest. It can be used to easily vassalize any nation in the game, no matter how big. But if you're going to use this, I'd recommend doing it now, as this will definitely not work in the next patch. Hopefully Paradox doesn't know that forming Persia removes Celestial Empire though. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks for all the comments on the last one. Any feedback is always appreciated, and if you have any ideas of what I could do next, I'd love to hear them. If you have any questions about the strategy, I'd probably be able to answer them, so thanks for watching. Happy conquering.